It is essential that individuals understand that children of every ethnicity are the most important generational assets that we have for the future. It is also imperative that individuals understand that the cultural backgrounds that these children come from and the expectation of the family's members conducting themselves and the correct measurements, behaviors, characteristics, and attitudes during adult playground disputes should take in great consideration of not putting their business out on platforms concerning children of certain ethnicity groups. If you know what I'm talking about, then you are well aware of what I wrote earlier. Generational wealth of heritage and responsibility based upon that heritage and culture is something that is not taken lightly. And to allow any children to be manipulated by any group or individuals so that an adult can be put into the ideas of having fame or in the position of getting the limelight may not be tolerated by extended family members within a particular culture. Because the visibility of children within a particular family should always be guarded, as it should be with all children. But consideration should be given to certain children that I'm speaking of this evening. And the understanding that traditional backgrounds and heritage, culture, acceptance will not be tolerated by certain family members who are watching by afar, but they're watching very carefully of how much certain individuals are willing to throw their children into the arena of jaw-jacking bullshit of the circus that has been created concerning a Tennessee matter. So, I am speaking directly of children only. When you are allowing jaw-jacking comments about a particular ethnicity group of children to be undermined with cultural heritage on YouTube channels, the elders are watching. And if you are of that particular ethnicity group, understand this. Within that ethnicity group, the younger generations usually accommodate the knowledge and wisdom of that group of the elders. And understand this. No matter what happens in Tennessee, if you are willing to sacrifice any children from a generational group of any ethnicity, elders are not going to sit back and take it. So, as I'm relaying this message that I received today after talking to several people, I would take in great hesitation to participate in sacrificing my personal children to have spite against another human being, because you both are adults, but those children are children. To sacrifice your children because of something else that happened between you and another adult, and to participate in jaw bullshit from a group of people to hurt a particular child or all 3 or 4 of your children is wrong. Take it for what it is. The differences among ethnicity groups is this. Okay? Hispanic culture determines that younger generations will listen to their elders. Communities are based across Interstate 10 borders with wisdom and knowledge from those elders. Your extended family members will expect and will request, and you have established determination of what will be accepted as a parenting skill for your children. There's no way around it. It's black and white. Children will not be exchanged for adult disputes. It's never been that way, and it will never be accepted. Because children are considered a honor, a gift in the Hispanic culture. They are put up on a pedestal. And to allow someone to do what is being done is wrong. And to go with a group of people and put children out in front and allow them to get hurt is wrong. Now, that is not just based upon love. That is based upon a tradition of discipline that has been going on for centuries. Now, when you speak about African Americans, they have a deep, deep legacy for their love and their caring and their projection based upon their knowledge of acceptance and kindness for their children. And they require discipline and encourage stability within their community as a whole. There is a love line there. You can see it in Memphis if you ever lived there. You can see it in Georgia, Macon. Then we have people who are from the East Coast, or Yankees, or Northern, or Caucasian individuals. Caucasian individuals love their children. They want the best for their children. And some of the most wildcat people I've ever seen are Caucasian individuals. Their children are like their extended hearts. And so every culture is different. But here's the main focus. When you're looking at these 3 cultures and you're looking at Native Americans are totally different. But when you have a group of individuals who are in, let's say, interracial marriages, and you are raised within these marriages, and you accept the customs reflecting upon your own children, okay? Children are not sacrificed for adult playgrounds. Many of you may have seen what I wrote to the governor of Tennessee earlier today. Hello, everyone. And basically what I stated to him is about grandparents. Because I'm a grandparent and all that happy stuff. But here's the deal. When you look at grandparents, when grandparents look at their grandchildren, they're looking at their bloodline, their future. What grandparents, most grandparents do, they try to teach and give resources and wisdom and have a bonding and connection with their grandchildren. Often, they bypass their children to make sure that their grandchildren have the access to every specialty in life that there is. Knowledge, wisdom, materialistic things. Okay? And with the threats that's already been made to, like, let's say, the judge's grandchildren in Summer County. And with the little, what do you want to say? The little comments that you will see in various chats throughout the last 4 days concerning children in general. Grandparents are that rare breed of individuals, a very rare breed of group, especially from Tennessee. Because let me tell you why. Grandparents of children of Tennessee, they have lived through Martin Luther King's assassination. They have lived through the Kennedy murder in Dallas. They have lived through Vietnam, Desert Storm, the 2 Iraqi wars. They have seen some of their grandchildren not come back from the Middle East. They have seen the Memphis 3 out concerning 3 young boys that died in Memphis. They have seen the Job Corps incident in Knoxville with the young lady's death. Some of them have seen Sheriff Buford Brewster's demise within his own county and the taking of many of his family members and his own life. And some of his extended family still are alive today. So, the majority of what I wrote to that governor is, if you listen to what YouTubers are speculating on and how these proceedings of real life events are evolving in different states, not just Tennessee, but I'm talking specifically about Tennessee. What you're visualizing as a grandparent is you've already lived through all that stuff. Okay? And the one thing that we cannot accept in Tennessee or any state is the upheaving of adults willing to sacrifice children for their disputes. Last year, I'm going to share something with you. Last year I went to it turned out to be a riot, but it wasn't, it was a protest. And right in front of my eyes, I saw a father pick up a 4-year-old. And right as a bullet was coming towards him, and he sacrificed his own son because he did not want to die. Many individuals involved within groups or cliques, they don't have a conscience. They're predetermined to have a prejudice. And they're willing to sacrifice those who have little knowledge, no background knowledge, on the dangers of our society. And those are our children. First of all, children should never be involved in any type of protest, any type of riot. Children should not be there, period. Okay? The upheaving that many people see coming to Tennessee and to other states. Children should not be involved, and governors should be aware that it's happening. If you don't take the warnings, if you don't take the initiative, if you don't speak out about it, it's going to happen. And that should be the majority of the concern. The second thing is that I would like to address, and I know you guys probably get tired of me stating this over and over again. Children on social media platforms should not be sacrificed in any manner. No manner. Whether a creator, influencer, YouTuber, whatever you want to call yourself, if you believe that you have to allow a child to be degraded to make yourself feel better or look better, you have a big problem. And that problem is you don't care about children to begin with. That is a major problem. And if you're not willing to stand out in front as an advocate for children, if that's what you do, or missing people, as a creator, let's say that you state, yes, I gather facts, yes, I present facts, okay? And I keep on hearing the community say, well, we want it to be like it used to be. Well, my question is this. If someone comes to established YouTubers and they say, we collect facts, we stand for this, okay? And let's say you have a new hinge on your door, a new person in the field, and they state to you, hey, would you mind hanging a few flyers on your way to wherever? Say you're going to Nevada or Arizona for a rally for a child. And they look at you and they say, no, we're not going to do that. You're going to go there anyway. What's 5 to 7 seconds going to matter? If you're unwilling to do that and you state you're an advocate of factual evidence, then you're a liar. You're not standing by what you put on your description on your panel. It's a lie. If you're trying to establish a bill, or you have already established bills, like some YouTubers have, and I know for a fact I have 3 people who have established bills. Here's the point about that matter. First of all, you never establish anything by yourself. You can never establish a bill into a law by yourself. Because you know why? It takes more than one person. 2, if you're only doing it to get the glory for yourself and not share the glory of the bill passing with those that helped you to get that bill passed, then you're worthless as a human being. Because if you don't share the glory of having a bill passed with those that help you, then the recognition is only for yourself. Recognition should be shared across the board, not just with the legislative body who votes on it, but with anyone who is sitting at your table that helps you create those ideas. They can be someone who don't like, that's on an opposing side, that supports the idea of the bill. They may not support you, but they support the idea of the bill. The 3 individuals that I know that have had bills passed, only one individual in general has stated and has thanked others who helped get a bill passed. So that is a very concerning understatement, that everyone would like glory for getting a bill passed. And here's the problem with that. If you go back, many of you may not be old enough, or maybe you are old enough to remember Adam Walsh. John Walsh, America's Most Wanted Child. That man never undermined anyone, even through his pain. He never try to destroy anyone. He took his anger and his hatred and his pain, and he established the pattern of recognition to be a productive member of society. He did not deem it necessary to belittle anyone, but he gave the glory back to those victims in general. And then you have the killing fields in Texas, and you have a man by the name of Smith. He's not as well known or recognized, but his daughter was murdered. And he has done the same thing, but his platform is not in the news syndicate. His ideal performance is in search and rescue. So when you have individuals like that who take their pain and their anger and all the negativity and they put it in a productive means for the betterment of society, that's the way it should be. These two individuals, and there are many more, so many more individuals, they are not asking for recognition amongst themselves. They did not cause havoc. Most of them steer away from inappropriate language, inappropriate opportunities of negative behaviors towards others. They don't want it. It's a blemish upon their victims, the personal family member who is the victim, and themselves. When you're advocating for your family member who is the victim, your attitude must be totally spotless, with the consideration of this. You should not, in any manner, undermine those who are helping you in any mannerism, whether they be on opposing teams or your own team, or whether they are part of law enforcement, the law enforcement party. Because ultimately, let me tell you why. Let's take Sebastian's case in general. You hear a lot of hoopla about what Sumner County Sheriff's Department hasn't completed, what they haven't done, what they have done, blah, blah, blah. You keep on having individuals stating, well, we want more FBI involvement. Well, understand this. No matter how much jaw-jacking and drama is created concerning Sebastian's investigation, ultimately, the FBI, the TBI, and Sumner County, and all the agencies that support them owe you nothing. You are not the true victim of the crime. And ultimately, at the end of the day, and at the end of the journey, these agencies, when they are working together, okay, and they are working together, that is how the hierarchy works. Local law enforcement, TBI, FBI, DOJ, etc., etc. That's how it goes. At the end of the journey, the end of the day, they're not going to come back to you as a parent and state, we're going to use TBI against the FBI. That's not how it works. And in the final visual sense of the wording, if you think that one agency is going to go up against another agency in an investigative manner that concerns a true victim, which parents are not the true victim of a crime if the child goes missing. The child is the victim. The parents are the extended victims. They're not the main victim. Okay? But I guarantee you that those different branches of law enforcement, federal, state, and local agencies, are not going to answer to you personally. They are going to cover each other's asses. That's the way it works. It's always worked that way, and that's just the way it is. And in our society, as Americans, this is the way it truly works. Okay? The majority of laws are passed for the protection of the majority of our society. Okay? When you're looking at a governor, or if you're looking at a presidential person like Trump, when you take in consideration a law, what you're looking at is how this is going to affect the majority of the residents, the majority of the population. It is highly irregular for any type of governmental entity to look and say, well, we're going to just focus on this one individual. Okay? When you're looking at bills, when you're looking at protections, it's for the majority of the population. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is this. If our country was based upon just individualities of protection, then we would not have a free society. We would have more of a communist society. But when you're looking at the majority of the population, the majority of the residents, all are equal. But one cannot be the highlight for all laws to be passed for just one individual. It's not the way it works. But let's look at this a little closer. When you're looking at Tennessee and you're looking at opposing teams, you have, there's so many teams out there now. You have the green team, you have Sebastian's army, you have the dark side, you have the split of the dark side, then you have those who don't belong to any side except the truth. When you're looking at all these sides, what's the one common core thing that they all have in common, and none of them really like each other? What's the one thing they have in common concerning Tennessee? Anyone want to write down what they think it is? Here's what it is. No matter if you're with Sebastian's army, the dark side, or independent thinkers of the truth, you will hear every associative, every team member state one common core thought: that pockets of Tennessee have corruption within their law enforcement. It doesn't matter what team you're on. It's a common thought. Now, when you have that type of thought processes from different individuals who do not even like each other, they don't even get along, when they share that same common core thought, then there's obviously a problem. But how could you solve a problem like that? There's so many different approaches being taken right now to solve that problem. And who are people willing to sacrifice to get their own way to solve that problem? Do you reach out to the authorities by screaming, yelling, cussing? Do you take the understanding that the local law enforcement, the federal and the state agencies are going to work together, and they're going to cover their own asses? That's what they do. That's how it's supposed to work. That's the way it works. Okay? When you want to solve a problem that everyone agrees upon, that one major problem, you can't focus on working apart. There has to come a common ground. Okay? Many people believe that common ground is emailing in secret, having little meetings in secret, having the flotation of fighting with each other on the internet. That's not the way you do it. Your thoughts, your communication should be open. There should be a compromise made from all sides for a solution. You know why? It's for the protection and the betterment of the system of local government bodies within Tennessee. If you keep on jaw-jacking, bullshitting, and bitching about a problem, how are you going to solve it? You're not going to solve it. Unfortunately, money's not going to solve it either. Okay? Here's the bad thing about money. It comes and goes. Okay? Money's not that important when it comes to the livelihood and the lifeblood of a particular individual. The core fundamental heartline of any community are the resources within that community. Yelling, screaming, threatening, and doing all this drama that we have online and in real life is not helping. Everyone agrees there's a problem. And believe it or not, Tennessee authorities knows that there's a problem. They're well aware of it. And do not underestimate them. They're watching everyone. I guarantee you that. But either they're selecting not to answer it, or they're waiting. And if they wait too long, and some of them are, let's say, they don't have enough background knowledge, even if they've been in law enforcement 8, 10, 12 years. They weren't around for the real nastiness back in the day. Okay? They read about it. They learned about it in the academy, but they never lived it. If they are unable to pick up the signs of what's going on within these groups, then something very tragic is going to happen. Because it's already crossed the line with several people in life. It shouldn't be that way. Online social media platforms should be a place that is comforting, that provides knowledge, that has a selection for everyone to share mindful combinations to create positive thoughts and interactions and movements within their communities. Furthermore, it should provide any available resources to SA and DV and victims of crimes in all areas. It should be a pleasure. Not as much as music, but it should be a learning tool that we have to assist with everyone. And until the day that people have enough courage to stand up and say, yes, I stand on my spine. I believe what I believe, and I'm willing to compromise. And I am going to stand with that one core belief. I see it from every side. We know there's a problem. You can't burn everything down and take away everything, because if you burn everything down, there's nothing left to stand on. And if you take everything away, what's left? Nothing. So, those are my thoughts tonight. I really would hope that 6 particular states would have come to an understanding that they need to look within themselves and understand the positions that certain organizations, not government agencies, other organizations, are putting themselves into, and what they're doing to regular Americans. But as we end this, or as I end this, please consider the children. And when you think of children, understand this. When you state that you represent one group of children in particular, and you have been attacked and you feel bad, um, everything, and you're trying to protect your child because he or she is of a particular protected group, please understand and have consideration for this. When you look around on YouTube in the trauma and drama area, in crime area, I can count up 5 particular autistic children within that group. And when you're attacking the parents of an autistic child as though you state that you were attacked, understand this. They're parents too. They're younger than some individuals who are parenting of older autistic individuals. And they should not just receive grace. They should receive mercy, whether you like them or not, because they're learning. We may not agree with what some individuals are doing with their children, because there is a moral compass to many YouTubers' ideals of how children should be treated online. I've seen it on both sides. It's there. But you have a few that are not listening. But understand this. Although you, as a parent, may have an autistic child, or maybe you have an ADHD child, or whatever, you are not free to judge the parenting skills of someone else who has a child with autism, ADHD, or the victim of SA or DV, domestic violence. You know why? Because you're not in their shoes. You do not know how that parent reacted to protecting their child who has been sexually assaulted. You do not know how that parent reacted when they had to go see their child take therapy. And what right do we, as human beings, have to criticize another parent on the type of therapy that their child has received? And in God's name, what right would we want to rehash a victim's SA or DV violence on YouTube for? Do you know how many individuals who have had that done to them had to go back and start therapy again? And maybe they went through the whole cycle, and maybe they don't even think about it no more. After 3 or 4 years of therapy, they haven't had no therapy. And then their names brought up on YouTube, and some YouTubers keep on rehashing what they think happened, or they're reading reports. What kind of human being does that? Tell me. Do you like to inflict pain upon individuals who went through a sexual assault or a domestic violence episode? What right do we have to do that to other human beings? What critically are we accomplishing by doing that to victims? Nothing. There's no glory in doing that. But here's where you have to look at these type of things. When someone goes out and murders someone, they always take a little trophy, okay? So the way I see it is, when you're looking at social media platforms and you have people who are in their glorious state, that they have rehashed a victim's pain, their assault, the humiliation, guess what? That's their little trophy, just like a murderer does. He takes a little trophy with him, but his is physical usually. But for YouTubers who do that against other YouTubers, you know what they have? They have the satisfaction of knowing they humiliated another human being and made them go and be re-victimized. That's pretty low. That's pretty low. You might as well just be putting that coffin straight down 6 to 8 feet. And you might as well say, hey, I don't really care. I'm going to do it again and again. What type of person does that? Reflect upon yourself and ask yourself, is your pain that important that you should inflict that type of pain upon someone else? That's a question I can't answer for you. It's a question I can ask you, but I can't answer it for you. Just remember the children, they are owed protection, no matter whose children they are. Children should not be brought into adult playgrounds under no circumstances. But do understand this. The older generation is watching very carefully. And many of you may not think that's very important, but it is very important. Especially if you are coming from a particular group. Protect yourselves, protect your children, and do not underestimate anyone, because everything is not as it appears. And any court proceeding that is on a docket doesn't make it the truth. It's just in black and white. And a clerk of a court does not determine the truth or validity of a complaint. That is actually left up to a mediating judge, an assistant judge, or the main judge. But what does happen is if you win a case, or you are able to mediate a case and you win that case, it's not always put on the docket if you win it. Many people win cases all the time, and they don't even have a docket number. What happens is if you go through mediation and you win a case, anything that's presented in that case and preserved in that particular courthouse, your exhibits, if you win, actually become the truth. And if they were based on the truth in the beginning, that is extraordinary. So understand, no matter what people are telling you, the clerk of the court does not determine the strength or the validity of any complaint. A mediating judge or attorney, an assistant judge, or a general sessions judge, a circuit court judge, a federal judge, a state appellate judge, they're the ones who make the decision. Or in some states, a jury makes that decision, whether it be 6 to 12 or 12 people. Depends on where you live. Not just the state. It also may depend upon the county. So people can write anything they want in a complaint or a tort. And it means nothing unless if a judge or a jury selection or a mediation attorney or judge determines it has validity. That's how it works. So, and the other thing, one final thing I would like to comment on tonight. If any of you are out there in the position and you believe that you have been subject to any type of appalling behavior from anyone, I would suggest that you go to my post and you read my response to Granny and you look at the address I posted, and I tell you why. Too many of these cases are going into a courtroom. Granny asked a question yesterday or the day before. She was talking about a combined lawsuit against reality. I think it was a joke. But I responded to it anyway. I don't think to take a person like reality to court is going to do any good, because reality is just one of those individuals that her character is just up and beyond everything of understanding, okay? Um, you take it with a grain of salt. But, truthfully, if you have had clip videos made about you and about your family members being beat up by certain individuals, or your mail has been tampered with, and you've had to sit before the Inspector General's Commission investigative team, and you had to prove that really happened, and that you have individuals, let's say, Miss Lee, that participated in that conversation on X, and you had to go through that, and you had to live through that, and you have documentation that you actually lived through something like that, or you've had an attorney take correspondence and give it to someone else and they put it out online, and you have proof that that attorney went against the Board of Ethics. Or let's say you have a child and your child's records have been FOIA, and people have went real life on your children. Not maybe physically assaulted them, but they jaw jacked them with words, or they threatened to hurt them. Or you've had people drive by or come up to your house, or you were on a live and people have actually called into an open panel and threatened you. Or you may have DM messages, texts, or whatever that someone has sent you, and they sent the same kind of message to another person. Or Summer County may have said that Green Hoodie was cleared, and for the last for the last 16 months, Pacific YouTubers have been riding the asses of certain individuals, stating that they're going to come after Green Hoodie. Okay, if you have anything like that going on and you have proof, you have receipts, you have data, digital data, paper data that you lived through investigative interrogations, and you had to go before the board of the Inspector General and your local postmaster, blah, blah, blah. You have anything like that, and there can be collaboration with other individuals, I would highly suggest, as a group, that it is presented to the FBI agency in that address that I posted on my post today. And the reason for that is, here's the understanding. I keep on hearing everyone say, I just want peace. I just want this to stop. Okay, it is better if you have any, even just a little bit of this. If they attacked you or your children or whatever, if you have proof, to approach the FBI as a group so they'll understand that it's consistently involving 10 states. Okay? 10 states. And the reason why I say the FBI is, if you go and you present as a group from the variety of states, the FBI is in every state. But when you present as a one person to one particular FBI detailed office, instead of having everything sent to one FBI agent, they're going to isolate it. They're going to say, well, this is not really a group effort by two or more people of cyber stalking, harassment. All you need is two individuals doing that to different people, and becomes a federal crime over a particular period of time. Okay? The reason I would not have certain FBI agencies in certain states take it is because the focus point is going to be made to this. Well, this is just an extension of the drama that has been going on since day one. Okay? This is not an extension of the drama. When a group of individuals continuously assault old and new victims and they bring in children, that is the deliberate intention of causing and inflicting harm upon these individuals. Okay? And that type of behavior should not be a showcase in a courtroom for money. It should be on a platform with the FBI so that the law can be upheld for children and all those adults who are involved. There's a difference. It's not always about money. It's about the principle or the moral compass of the law. We have the laws. But so quickly, people go to a courtroom for the same thing over and over again. And that's what many people want. So it is better to go with the law that you can read about. We know it's there. And let's say that 12 people over the last 29 months have, and some of them are children. Some of them are children. Let's say that these individuals have been harassed, cyber-stalked, made clips about, and all these things. And there's the patterns of behaviors that have already been established in the courtroom are there with other individuals. They have the proof. It's the same type of proof. It is better to pass it on to the FBI. But it is better to pass it on to one FBI agent so that that particular agent is aware of everyone that is being deliberately and intentionally inflicted with pain. Those are my thoughts. Because you have the law. When you go with the FBI, it's not about the money. It's about upholding the law. About upholding the protections and the principles of that law. And they can investigate it thoroughly without prejudice and the indifference that has been established with some law enforcement agencies in Tennessee. At this current moment in time, there are two agencies in Tennessee. One is the TBI and another one is a local PD station. And there's a difference of opinion concerning at least two police video cam footages. The local PD says they never occurred, and you have a TBI agent stating they watched the footage. It exists. So I would not even trust the FBI in Tennessee. However, I would trust the FBI in Waco, Texas. So when you have that type of different of opinions, and it's written in black and white in an email, that's the reason why I would not trust any law enforcement agency in Tennessee. Furthermore, when you're considering the police department in Jersey, the Philly area, and their local bar association there, you also have to realize that often documentation, even if you send it certified mail, it's lost. Even if a case is pending in a criminal matter, make sure you keep what you send. You need to keep a copy of everything you send. Because you have game players that have been in existence for years within these pockets of criminal activity. Okay? Some of these individuals on this gaming board, that's Nyako, for instance. He's been around a long time. Alright? From my understanding, Two or three of the at night agency members have known some of the Proud Boys for a long time. All right. So this is what I'm telling you, and it's the same way in Tennessee. You get an outside agency who's part of the same major core FBI, but they're not willing to play the games and state they did not receive the evidence. And if you're lucky enough to have an FBI agent come to your door and you have evidence to give them, always get a receipt. There's nothing wrong with asking for a receipt. Hey, you want my footage? Give me a receipt. Just don't hand it over. Make sure you have a copy and get a receipt. That way it establishes a trail. So, remember the kids. Understand they should not be sacrificed. Nothing's going to change until everyone is on the same ideals that children should not be sacrificed. Have a good night. Remember to do your own safety. Be kind to yourself and be kind to one other person. And whoever you need to support, do it with good intentions. And post at least one flyer of whatever child or missing person that you support. Thank you for your time, your consideration, and your support. Bye-bye.